Thank you. I am Daniel Rodriguez. It is a pleasure to be here. When I was asked to do this, it was kind of something different for me, so it was a special moment, especially giving back to IAVA, an organization that has done a lot for me and something that I believe in, and a cause that we're here tonight to raise funds on behalf of people that give so much for what we have in this world. And that's something that we need to hold dear and appreciate and value as we move forward in our life, because we have an ability to make a difference with contribution and what we have and what we love. So with that, to be brave for me is to be you, is to find who you are, to embrace the uniqueness about yourself. And for me, that goes back to when I was a kid. I always butted heads with my father. I wasn't going to be like him. It was kind of funny. He loved me, his passion. He was my coach. He was my best friend. But every time he lectured me, he gave me something. I knew that I wasn't going to see it eye to eye with him. Now, why was that? Because in myself, I knew that I wasn't going to be the man he wanted me to be. I knew that my path was going to be different. I knew that the definition of my life stood by me, that I had the possibility in this world to be the author of my ambition, no matter what I wanted to aspire in my life. And I went through this world hard-headed, and I barely graduated high school. And 4 days after I graduated, my father passed away of a massive heart attack, and I sat there looking at my life, thinking to myself, what am I doing? Who am I going to become? What responsibility have I taken in this world thus far? What do I have to show for myself? And I stood there looking at a sister and a mother crying their eyes out, and I didn't know what to do with my own life. So I told myself, listen, I need to be brave in the action that I take. I need to take responsibility in my life and do something different, change the narrative in my life, because what I started to see was a lot of excuses being made in my life because of something detrimental that happened. I started making a lot of excuses in my life because I didn't want to see something, the outcome, the output of my father being put into a grave. How was I going to move forward? How was I going to take on the last name, the responsibility, when this adolescent child that hadn't done anything, that hadn't amounted to anything, that had forged and faked his way through the entire high school career, to be sitting here on the cusp, on the edge of reality, thinking that he had the world figured out, yet I had nothing. I had nothing to show, and I had nothing to give. But I had to be brave with the next step that I took. And the reason I'm on this stage, the reason that I believe in this cause, is because I took that step into a recruiter station. I wanted to go to the Air Force. It's a true story, but they were on a lunch break. And I went across the hall and joined the Army. Swear. I tell people I'm an accidental soldier all the time, because I literally had hyped myself up for 2 days that the Air Force had better benefits, and I walked in, and as soon as I went to open the door, it was locked, and it said, "Will return soon." There was an Army recruiter with his legs kicked up on the desk, eating a burger, and he's like, "Son, can I help you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I'd like to join the military." He goes, "Well, sign right here. We can make that happen." I was like, "Well, hell yeah, let's do it. I want to jump out of airplanes, and I want to be stationed in Europe." And I never jumped out of a single airplane, and I was never stationed in Europe. But what I did do was join during a time of war back in 2006, the Bush administration. And it was a significant time, because I went through this rigorous emotional struggle if this was something I was going to do, and I had to take that bravery again, that this is what I'm going to do, and I raised my right hand and I swear that I'm going to defend my country against foreign and domestic, no matter what happens. And I didn't know what the road to come was. And 24 days after basic training, I was thrown into Iraq for a 15-month deployment where I saw 24 of my friends die. And you question a lot about yourself. You question the decisions that you make as an 18-year-old kid, a 19-year-old kid running from rooftop to rooftop in the streets of Baghdad, kicking down doors, trying to figure out what you were going to do, wondering why you're serving with people that are missing legs now. You're living in fear of these sirens going off, of what the next movement is going to be. And you come back to a world, to a grateful, thankful, free country that all they want to do is call you a hero. And I never felt heroic for what I had done. I never felt that I should have had that title, because good men did not come home. And there was a lot more for me to give. And through this rigorous emotional pull, I had orders to go back to Afghanistan. I was 20 years old. And you have to find that bravery amongst yourself again when you see young soldiers coming in for the first time, and their eyes are glowing to see combat. and you're trying to keep them under the rope, saying, don't wish for something negative, don't ask for war, don't look for combat, don't be excited to potentially see somebody die. You don't understand the horrifics of war. You don't know what it's like to be under fire. And I have these kids come in and they start changing my mindset again, that I have to pull myself out of these dumps. I have to pull myself in a position to cater to those around me. And I get to Afghanistan and I told myself, if I can go through this deployment one time without having to fire my rifle, then this will be a successful deployment. And that did not happen. I was a part of what's known as the bloodiest battle in the war in Afghanistan. I'm one of 53 American soldiers overrun by 400 plus Taliban firefights in an 18-hour duration. I have 2 bullet fragments. I had shrapnel through my legs and embedded in my neck. Threw over 52 hand grenades, killed at point-blank range, and I lost 8 American friends during that fight, not to mention the ones that killed themselves when we came home. And I told myself, I'm getting out of the military. I don't want to be defined by this anymore. I'm only 21 years old, and I put 24 friends in this conflict into graves, and the 7 more that kill suicides for years to come. And yet when I come home to my country, I cannot even legally buy a beer. Yet send me off to fight, but don't protect yourself when you come home. And this is a struggle with veterans that they come home with. How are we going to adjust? How are we going to adapt? This is something that we have to live with, these demons amongst us, that we have fought, that we have served. And for me, I needed something to latch on to. I needed bravery, and I found that amongst a woman. I found that amongst the opposite sex that took me and embraced me and loved me and took off that bulletproof vest that I had this world pushing against me. And I felt it for the first time become something different, that my bravery, that my sacrifice meant something, that I saw a future again, that I found purpose again, that I went through in my life wasn't the horrific, wasn't the end of me, that wasn't going to define the rest of my life, and that relationship slipped away. And I found myself in the detriments of true PTSD, of a true sorrowsome state, of a true suicidal remark again when I came home from war. And it's like, why do I have this parallel in my life? Where do we go? And as we evolve as a person, no matter what we face in our life, there are always going to be battles going forth. And we have to be brave amongst every battle that we face and see the good in it and understand why it's going to make us stronger, why it's going to make us unique, why it's going to make us different from those that may see something else. Remember, you have the greatness. Never let anybody talk you out of your highest vision, because not everybody's going to see it that way. You're going to be surrounded by people that are cowards, that are not going to stand up for themselves. They're not going to take a stand in front of people trying to take their land, that aren't going to get on that wave when you look behind them and you see that fear of the ocean. You have to get your feet wet. You have to jump off that cliff and learn to fly. We cannot have fear in this world right now. We are too special. We have too much of a voice amongst us. The power that we possess can make a change if we let it. And you have the ability to do something special. We are here in this room because we believe in a cause. We believe in a society and a community that needs to be heard. And I think we all can be brave a little bit more. Thank you so much.